Picture a stick figure standing at the edge of something small, a door they've been meaning to knock on, a message they keep not sending, a truth they keep not saying. Nothing dramatic, no music, no crowd, just a quiet, ordinary moment where the next step feels heavier than it should. And so they wait. They tell themselves they'll do it once the fear goes away. But the fear doesn't leave. It just sits there, patient, while the moment slips by. It just sits there, patient, while the moment slips by. We grow up thinking courage is something loud, heroes, big speeches, fearless leaps. So we look at our trembling hands and decide we don't have it. But that's not what courage is. The bravest things you'll ever do will probably be quiet, small, and barely noticed. So today, let's talk about the quiet kind of courage. 7 calm truths about doing the scary thing, afraid. Here's the thing we usually get wrong about courage. We imagine it as a feeling, some bold, fearless certainty that's supposed to arrive and carry us forward, so we wait for it. We scan ourselves for that surge of confidence, and when it doesn't come, we assume we're not brave enough. But courage was never a feeling. It's a choice you make while the fear is still very much there. The brave person and the frightened person are the same person in the same trembling moment, choosing to move in the same trembling moment. These 7 truths are small and practical. None of them ask you to become fearless. They simply offer a truer picture of what courage actually is. So the next time your hands are shaking, you don't mistake that shaking for weakness. You recognize it, instead, as the exact place where courage begins. First truth. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action alongside it. We tend to picture brave people as somehow unafraid, walking calmly toward the thing that would terrify the rest of us. But that picture is a myth, and it quietly does us harm. Because if courage means feeling no fear, then the moment our heart starts pounding, we assume we've already failed. The truth is almost the opposite. Fear is not proof that you lack courage. It's the very thing courage responds to. The speaker, the person finally telling the truth, their hands shake too. The only difference is that they move while shaking. So when you feel afraid, don't read it as a stop sign. Read it as the signal that you've arrived somewhere that matters. So here's a small practice. The next time you notice fear before something you care about, try renaming it. Instead of thinking, I'm scared, so I shouldn't, say quietly, I'm scared, which means this matters. Let the fear be a signpost, not a wall. You don't have to wait for it to disappear. Just take one small step while it's still there. That single step, taken afraid, is courage in its purest form. Second truth. Real bravery is usually quiet and small, not dramatic. When we think of courage, our minds jump to the grand and the cinematic. The rescue, the rebellion, the impossible stand. But those moments are rare, and they're not where most courage actually lives. Most courage is unremarkable from the outside. It's getting out of bed on the morning you don't want to. It's sending the honest email. It's saying I'm sorry first, or I was wrong, or I need help. No one applauds these moments. Often the only witness is you. And yet these are the brave acts that quietly build a life. The dramatic kind of courage makes a good story, but the small, quiet kind, repeated, unseen, is the kind that actually changes who you are. Try this. Think back over your last few days and find one small brave thing you already did. A hard conversation, a boundary you held, a risk you took that no one noticed. Don't dismiss it because it was quiet. Name it as courage, out loud if you can. We're so quick to overlook our own bravery. Start counting the small ones, and you'll see you're braver than you thought. Third truth. You don't wait to feel ready. Readiness comes after. So many of the things we long to do sit untouched behind a single sentence. I'll do it when I'm ready. We treat readiness like a gate that opens on its own, a feeling that will eventually arrive and give us permission. But for the things that genuinely stretch us, that feeling almost never comes first. You don't feel ready and then act. You act, and the readiness slowly catches up. Confidence is not what you need before you begin. It's the reward you earn for beginning afraid. The person who waits to feel ready waits forever, because the doorway to ready is on the other side of the first scary step. Here's a small shift. Pick one thing you've been postponing until you feel ready. Now shrink it until it's almost laughably small. Not the whole thing, just the first 2 minutes of it. Open the document, dial the number, lace up the shoes. Do only that today, without waiting to feel ready. Let action come first, and let the readiness arrive behind it, the way it always quietly does. Fourth truth. The first step is the hardest, and it shrinks the fear. Fear is a terrible mathematician. Standing at the bottom of the thing you're avoiding, it inflates everything: the difficulty, the danger, the size of what could go wrong. But fear does most of its work before you move. The strange and hopeful truth is that the thing is almost always smaller once you've begun. Knock on the door, say the first sentence, press send, and you'll often feel the fear deflate, like a shape that was mostly shadow. What terrified you in your imagination becomes merely difficult, and difficult is something you can handle. The hardest part was never the whole task, it was the inch between not starting and starting. So today, find something you've been dreading and take only its first step. Not the whole climb, just the first move. Open the email and write one line. Walk to the door and raise your hand. Notice what happens to the fear once you've actually begun. Almost always, it gets smaller. Let that be your proof, gathered again and again, that starting is the hardest and bravest part. Fifth truth. Courage is a muscle you build in tiny reps. We tend to think bravery is something you either have or you don't, a fixed trait handed out at birth. But courage behaves much more like a muscle than a gift. It grows through use, and it weakens through avoidance. Every time you do a small scary thing, you add a tiny rep, teaching your nervous system that fear can be felt and survived. And every time you dodge the hard thing, you teach yourself the opposite. This is wonderful news, because it means courage isn't a verdict on who you are. It's a practice. You don't need to feel brave to start. You just do one small, frightening thing, then another, until acting afraid becomes something you've learned how to do. So try this. Each day this week, do one small thing slightly outside your comfort zone. Speak up in the meeting. Ask the awkward question. Say no when you'd usually say yes. Keep them tiny on purpose. You're not trying to be heroic. You're just doing reps. Like any muscle, courage grows from the small, steady lifts, not the one dramatic strain. Stack the little ones and watch yourself get stronger. Sixth truth. Vulnerability. Speaking up, asking, being seen is real courage. We often picture courage as something hard and armored, the strength to push through and not flinch. But some of the bravest things a person can do involve being soft and open and seen. To say, "I love you" first. To admit, "I don't understand." To ask for help when you've always insisted you were fine. These take a quieter, deeper courage than any tough exterior, because there's no shield. You're risking the most tender thing you have, exactly where it would hurt most. Don't let anyone tell you that opening up is weakness. To let yourself be truly seen, knowing you might be hurt, is one of the bravest things a human being ever does. So here's a gentle one. Sometime soon, let yourself be a little more seen than feels comfortable. Tell someone how you actually feel. Admit you're struggling. Ask for the help you've been carrying alone. Pick just one person and one true sentence. It may feel exposed, and that's exactly the point. That small willingness to be seen, even afraid of the answer, is courage of the quietest, realest kind. Seventh truth. You can be afraid and do it anyway, both at once. Underneath all our hesitation is a quiet, mistaken belief that the fear has to go first, that we must somehow defeat it, wait it out, and only then are we allowed to move. So we stand frozen, fighting a feeling that was never going to leave on command. But here's the truth that sets so much of it loose. You don't have to win against the fear. You only have to act while it's still there. You only have to act while it's still there. Brave and scared are not opposites. You must choose between. They live in you at the very same moment. That is the whole secret. Not fearlessness, just the willingness to carry the fear with you, gently, and go anyway. So here's one last small thing to try. Think of something you want to do but feel afraid of. Now say to yourself, "I can be scared and do this at the same time." Don't wait for the fear to leave. Take one small step while your heart is still pounding, and let both things be true at once. That single step, fear and all, is where the quiet courage lives. So let's gather these 7 truths. Courage is not the absence of fear, but action alongside it. Real bravery is usually quiet and small, not dramatic. You don't wait to feel ready. Readiness comes after. The first step is the hardest, and it shrinks the fear. Courage is a muscle you build in tiny reps. Vulnerability, speaking up, asking, being seen, is real courage. And you can be afraid and do it anyway, both at once. The thread running through them is simple. Not one asked you to stop being scared, only to move while the fear was still there. That's the quiet kind of courage, and it's already within your reach. Not a rare gift for the fearless few, but a small choice you can make today. There may be a small voice asking, "What if I'm too afraid?" Hear this gently. You're allowed to be afraid. The fear doesn't disqualify you. It's part of the doorway. So start smallify you. It's part of the doorway. So start small. Today, do one scary, ordinary thing. Send the message. Ask the question. Take the step. That small, repeated act can slowly change a life. Thank you for spending this quiet time. And take care.